grazie mare, mamma mia, mi maradare. Figli mia a cutterare, mamma mia, pensaccia tu. Se te non ne pisciaolo, gli te va, gli te viene sempre a calare del mare.
Hello, and welcome to my very first show, This WAP Unplugged. My name is Felix Andreoni, and this show is about nursing home abuse. Let me tell you a little bit about my qualifications. I have worked in nursing homes for the past 30 years as a facility manager. I have witnessed an enormous amount of abuse throughout 8 or 9 different nursing homes that were located in Connecticut. I want to mention one thing, and I want to make it really clear. I will not mention any names of any nursing homes, nor will I mention any residents' names. I was a facility manager for 30 years. My responsibility as facility manager first was the physical plant of the building. I took care of all the mechanics of the building. Besides the mechanics of the building, I was in charge of housekeeping, laundry, and maintenance. So I was in and out of residents' rooms daily. Some of my job requirements were testing the water temperatures. In Connecticut, the temperature cannot reach over 120 degrees Fahrenheit, nor should it go below 105 degrees. Also, I was in charge of the fire suppression system in the nursing home. I did monthly fire drills, where we would hold fire drills and have all the residents sign off on them that participated in that drill for that day. Now, some of the abuse that I've witnessed in these nursing homes were horrible. Some of the nursing homes, I wouldn't place my dog in these nursing homes. That's how bad the abuse was. I've read some figures online that daily 1.4 million residents are abused daily in nursing homes. That's horrible. Most of the abuse I witnessed was verbal abuse. The CNAs or nurses would speak to the residents, curse at them, yell at them. There was sexual abuse in these nursing homes. There was monetary abuse where they would actually steal the money from these people that were in nursing homes. It was a horrible thing to see. I took care of my mother for 10 years. She moved in my house. She had Alzheimer's. It was the most difficult thing I ever did in my entire life. I will never forget how horrible dementia and Alzheimer's really is. It robs you of your dignity. During the 30 minutes that I'm on this program, I'm going to tell everyone out there what to look for before you put your loved one in these nursing homes. I'm also going to tell you also the markers to look for abuse when you go and visit your family members in these nursing homes throughout Connecticut. I never found not one nursing home that didn't have abuse, some more severe than others. One particular nursing home that I worked at, which was horrific. Now, I normally would not go in a nursing home that was that bad. I really should have done my homework before I entered this facility. It was a horrible place. A lot of the CNAs worked 2 jobs. They slept during the nighttime. I remember coming into work one morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, because I got a report that some of the heat wasn't working properly in this facility. When I arrived at this particular facility, no one was at the nursing home station. The nurse was sleeping, and the CNA was in the med room, sound asleep. Now, when I went to look at the nurse's station call for aid, I noticed in each individual hallway, some of the lights were turned on. These poor residents were pressing the button for call for aid, and nobody was arriving. What they did was they crawled under the nurse's station desk with a Phillips screwdriver and disconnected the call for aid that would ring the telephone that was at that nurse's station, so no one would reply to their calls. When I reported this in the morning, when the director of nursing arrived, and also my supervisor, which was the director of the facility, the head nurse came into my office later on when she learned what I reported to the executive director and told me, "You know what, Felix? You never do that again. You never go over my head and tell the executive director anything." I was just shocked and amazed that this person would come to me like this. You know what I said to her? I said to her, "Let me tell you something. The next time I arrive in work early in the morning, what I'm going to do when I see this happen, I'm going to call the Department of Health in the state of Connecticut, and I'm going to report you and everyone that was sleeping. I'm not even going to go to my supervisor any longer," which is the executive director who I reported to. This was unappalling. I mean, how could someone do this? Imagine your mom in this nursing home, and she's pressing the call for aid for help, and nobody shows up. This is a horrible thing for your mom or loved one to go through. I'm going to tell you preventative measures that you should all take if you have a loved one in the nursing home. Make sure you go there every day to see that person, because I'll tell you the truth, people that work in nursing homes do not want you to show up every day because they know they have to take care of your loved one even more so. They don't want to do that. A lot of them are just there for a paycheck only. And I hate to say this, it will upset some people that work in these nursing homes, but the majority of the CNAs are very ignorant people. And they're out there working two jobs, which shouldn't be, and they're sleeping when they come to either or both nursing homes. It's a horrible experience for your loved one to go through. I remember one particular nursing home that I went to. I applied for a job there, and my resume is extensive. Well, this people that were doing the interviewing on me said to me, "I understand, Felix, that we heard that you were going to write a book about nursing home abuse." And I said, yes. And at the time, I was going to write a book. But then I decided to take this to TV so people can hear what I have to say. All of a sudden, they turned their back on me and say, "The interview's over and you can leave." What were they hiding in this particular nursing home? What were they hiding? Another nursing home I went to, I met with the executive director of this one particular nursing home. He said to me, "Felix, I'm so glad that you're here. Now you can take over these fire drills." These fire drills have to be performed once a month. And everybody who participates in this fire drill will sign a sign-in sheet. You're supposed to actually go to a pull station and pull down the station. You call in to the monitoring station first. This way they could shut down the alarm system so it's not reported to the fire company, so they know it's a drill. Well, this executive director happened to say to me, he said, listen, I've been doing the drills for the past 3 months because your position is vacant. He said, but I just had them sign in. I never really pulled the fire alarm. Little does he know, not only is the fire alarm pulled, but the fire pump that operates the suppression system for all the sprinkler heads in the building supposed to be activated also for 30 minutes, and he never done that. This is an executive director doing this. I'm telling you, the amount of abuse is widespread, more than you will ever know. Now, you can email me. I would try to help you all I can. My email is felixandrioni@yahoo.com. I will try to answer everybody's question if you have one. Now, let me tell you about more abuse that I witnessed. And I got fired at one job for reporting abuse. Imagine being fired because you reported an abuse at a nursing home. Now, I was called into the office right after I reported abuse and was immediately terminated. Well, what did I do? I went and sued this nursing home. It took 3 years and I won the lawsuit. Again, I'm not mentioning any homes or any residents' names. I'll tell you another incident in a nursing home that happened. One, a resident passed away during the middle of the night. The CNAs never went into this resident's room to even check on them, whether they were alive or not. When the executive director came in and we had a manager's meeting, she explained what happened. And she said the family member are coming in to view that person's body. Now that they passed away, they have a right to come in and look at their family member for the last time. She turns around and tells the CNAs, you need to go in that room and make sure that person looks like they just passed away. What a disgrace. What a disservice. The majority of the people that work in these nursing homes are only there, believe me, for a paycheck. You could call me and write to me, my email, and say, you know what, Felix, my mom was taken very care of, but you don't know what goes on in the middle of the night. That's why the majority of people that pass away in nursing homes die in the middle of the night, because no one goes there to even check on them, let alone come in for the call for aid. It's a disgrace, and this should stop. I have some examples that you can look for when you're in a nursing home. And the first thing you should really do before you put your loved one in a nursing home is go to the front desk and ask for the violation book. Every front desk by law has to have a violation book there. If you see any IJ's violation, which stands for immediate jeopardy, do not put your loved one in that nursing home, because that means that their misguidance and taking care of these residents, that someone's life was lost because of their negligence. You don't want to put anyone in a nursing home that has immediate jeopardy. Never do that. If you do have a loved one in the nursing home, I would put a video camera inside their room. You could buy them on Amazon. They make them inside of clock radios, teddy bears. Now, for HIPAA laws, you have to make sure that that camera is only facing the person that you have in the nursing home, because you cannot, by law, video any other residents. And this way, if there's any type of abuse, you can note that in the video and call the proper authorities. If you ever go into a nursing home and you notice there was some type of physical abuse on your loved one, I would call the police. Don't even bother at that particular time reporting it to the executive director of that nursing home or anyone that works there. Call the police and have them come out and do an investigation. I've seen other abuses happen, even sexual abuse, where I didn't personally witness, but eventually that employee was arrested because it actually did happen. Because what this particular employee did was he sexually abused this young man that evidently had a stroke. And eventually the man was able to speak clearly, and he told them precisely what the CNA did to him. And that CNA was eventually arrested. It's sad when a nursing home has an employee that clearly abuses someone, and their union, whether it's 1199 or whatever union, Teamsters comes in and stands up for that employee, even when it was clear that the abuse happened. That's why I would call the police for your loved one and make sure that the police do a full report. Another particular nursing home that I worked in needed an entire roof replacement. Now, the roof, I got 3 estimates for this particular roof to be replaced because it was leaking water. And some of the estimates were $300,000. The roof was very old. It had holes in it, and it needed to be replaced. Well, make a long story short, the roof was never replaced. What you're looking at now is a picture of me standing in a hallway at this particular nursing home. Again, no names are mentioned. And it's flooded completely. This whole section, the whole wing, was completely flooded with water as a result of a rainstorm. Now, what I have to say, again, people might not like it, but I'm here to tell you the truth, exactly what I witnessed. I'm not here to sugarcoat anything. And if you don't like what I'm saying and you working in a nursing home, I don't give a damn. Because maybe you should be paying more attention to the residents that are in there and not your wallet. And let me tell you, if a nursing home is privately owned by one particular person, I guarantee you they really don't care about the residents. They care about the bottom line, the money. Now, I don't care what religious beliefs you believe in. I don't hold anything against anyone, whether you're a Muslim, Catholic, Jewish, I do not care. You have a right to believe in anything you want to. But this particular incident in these nursing homes I worked at, some of these people's religious beliefs get in the way of them operating a nursing home. If you can't use a cell phone from Friday to Saturday, you can't be located. Why are you even running this nursing home? Because people need to get in touch with you on a second notice. And because you're money hungry, basically, you don't want to spend any money. And this picture that you just seen of me in a hallway that was flooded out completely, what happened in that situation? Well, the fire department came out, as you can see. The state inspector came out, as you can see. And what does the state inspector do? Well, he tells me to get an electrician here and shut down the power in this particular wing and move the patients into rooms that are unoccupied on the other side of the building. Well, you know, water travels at its lowest spot. And it could go anywhere. It could go any section of that building. Wouldn't you think the state inspector would close this facility completely? No, he left it open. I have some tips also for the inspectors. I hope you're watching this show. Anytime the nurses come out to inspect the facility every year, what you need to do, you need to come 2 o'clock in the morning. That's the time you nurses need to get up. Because I heard some of you inspectors complaining that 6 o'clock in the morning was too early for you. Well, you need to show up at 2 when the CNAs are sleeping. That's when you need to come there. Another tip I'm going to give the building inspectors. If you want to truly know whether the facility manager is actually doing the fire drills, you know, anybody can write anything they want in a manual. You don't know whether it happened or not. What you need to do, and this is for the inspectors, you need to call the monitoring station. Whoever monitors the call boxes for the fire alarm system, and you tell them you want a printout of every call box that was pulled in the last 6 months. And it's every month, so they will give it to you. If that doesn't match the numbers that are in the log that facility manager has to write down, then you know you have a serious violation. He's not even pulling the alarm system. There's so many things that I can tell you that went on, and I only have 30 minutes to do this. If you want to hear more, email me. It's felixandrioni@yahoo.com. FELIXANDREONI @yahoo.com. FelixAndrioni@yahoo.com. I will try to help anybody out there I can. Now, to solve this problem, what do you do to solve the nursing home problem? I'll tell you, I have the answer to this. I have the answer. I'm going to read you guys a letter that I sent to Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and he's the Secretary of Health and Human Services. I sent this out about a week ago. I said, "Dear Secretary Kennedy, my name is Felix Andrioni, and I'm writing to you not only as a professional with over 30 years of experience in long-term care industry, but also as a son who cared for his mother with dementia at home for a decade. What I witnessed as both an insider and caregiver has led me to the troubling but urgent conclusion. Nursing home and nursing home abuse in this country, especially in privately owned facilities, is widespread, often unreported, and deeply in need of reform. Throughout my 30 years career working in various nursing homes across Connecticut, I served as a facility manager, overseeing the entire physical plant of multiple buildings. I was responsible for maintenance, housekeeping, laundry, monthly fire drills, and infectious control training. I worked closely with staff across departments and had direct insight to day-to-day operations. What I saw on a regular basis was appalling verbal abuse, physical abuse, and even cases of sexual abuse. In many cases, the owners of these facilities prioritize profit over health, safety, and dignity of their residents. What I endured personally, caring for my own mother at home, was also emotionally devastating. Watching her slowly lose her sense of self over 10 years. It was the hardest thing I ever done. Yet I know in my heart it was the right thing to do, especially witnessing how residents in nursing homes are often neglected and mistreated. I firmly believe that one major solution to this crisis lies in revising the HIPAA laws as they apply to long-term care facilities. We must allow for 24/7 video surveillance in residents' rooms, including bathrooms, and feeds accessible only to the Department of Health and viewed strictly in the presence of a nurse and a physician. These secure suspected abuse and negligence. Expanding this surveillance to common areas throughout the facility would further help protect residents and ensure accountability. This single measure, if implemented correctly, could eliminate 90% of nursing home abuse. Staff behavior would improve because of this video surveillance, and families would get peace of mind knowing that their loved one is safe. I have much more to share, but I hope this letter serves as a starting point. I would be honored to speak with you and your staff further about accountability steps that we can take to protect the most vulnerable citizens. I've lived this firsthand and believe this reform not only possible, but urgently needed. And closing, I put thank you for your time and your public service. I sent this letter about a week ago to Robert F. Kennedy. I hope he reads this letter. Now, quickly, I only have a limited amount of time. But what can you do? What red flags do you want to look at before you put your loved one in a nursing home? Number one, understaffing, lack of privacy, noisy environment, poor reviews, fixed visiting hours, unprofessional staff, high staff turnover, unclean conditions, limited freedom of choice, no abuse prevention programs, unhappy residents. When I was in one particular nursing home, when I started working there, what did I do? I shook up the entire employee. I went out and bought an ultraviolet pen. And what I did was I put my name on this tile. You cannot see it because it's ultraviolet. And then I would put the date on there. I would mark this on all the porcelain in the building because I was in charge of housekeeping. I would make sure they cleaned the bathrooms. And if you look, it's kind of hard to see with this. Here it is. You could see my name. Here's my name and date. And it clearly wipes off on your finger. All you have to do. I would do this on a Monday. I would go back on a Thursday, and wouldn't you know, the bathroom was not cleaned. They never sprayed any disinfectant on that bathroom. You know something? I could go on for another hour and tell you about the abuse. If you enjoyed this show and want to know more, let me know, and I will continue. If you have any issues or any questions, email me. I will help you out all I can. Remember, I have 30 years of experience, and before we close, I have about 50 seconds left. I reported all these issues that you're hearing me. I lost 2 jobs for reporting these issues. I will continue to fight for residents' rights because they can't speak for themselves. I hope everyone that works out in nursing homes listen to what I have to say. Just think of your mom or your dad in that home. Would you want them to be abused? Would you want them to be treated in this manner? No, you would not. And it's uncalled for that anyone would allow this to continue to happen. You know what? I hope Mr. Kennedy reads my letter. I hope he allows videos in nursing homes. If I can help anyone, contact me. And in last and closing, this is going to be the first show I've done on nursing home abuse. And I hope you continue to watch my shows because I'm going to bring out more information about other subjects that people should really know about. I hope you enjoy this show, and I hope you tune in again. And remember, if you have a loved one in a nursing home, make sure you check that violation book before you put them in that nursing home. Do your homework. Look at the facility. See if it's clean or not. Check all the violations that they have. You could also go online to the Department of Health, and because they have to post all the violations. If that nursing home is under special focus, do not bring your loved one there. Under special focus, that means that that nursing home is being surveyed every 6 months, not once a year. So you don't want to put your loved one in that particular facility. I want to thank everybody that's watching this show. Again, no nursing homes were mentioned. No residents' names were mentioned. And I have one last thing I want to say. Did I ever come across something nice? Of course I did. I had one resident that was dying of cancer. This was like a John Wayne type man. He said, he called me in the room and he was crying. I never saw this man cry. He said to me, you know what, Felix? I never believed in God, but I'm going to pass away soon. He goes, do you think that God will accept me? And I said to him, listen, before you go to sleep tonight, you pray to Jesus Christ and ask him to come into your life and ask him to accept you. So he thanked me, shook my hand, and I left. Well, what happened was when I came in the next morning, I noticed his bed was raised up and he was no longer in that bed. The head nurse came up to me and said, I know you were very close to him, but I'm sorry he passed away last night. She said, go in the room. There's something on the bedside table for you. I entered the room and there was a note folded up like this on the bedside table. I opened it up and it said, thank you, Felix. I will never forget that. Never. So I hope everyone out there that's listening to this show starts caring more about the residents that they are working for. Because remember, that could easily be your mom or your dad in these nursing homes. And you don't want any type of abuse happen to them. I took care of my mother for 10 years, and the state of Connecticut came in and made me place her in a nursing home. And she was in the nursing home not even 1 week, and they called me and tell me to come on over here. She fell out of her chair, and she basically cracked her head on the floor and was being transported to the hospital. That really upset me. That shows me nobody was really watching her, and she fell out of the chair. My mom had a horrible stroke after she entered the nursing home and went completely blind. Now, I'm not blaming any nursing home for that to happen, but she should not have fell out of that chair. Obviously, nobody was watching her. So I want to thank everybody that tuned into this show. Again, if you have any questions about the show, just email me, felixandrioni@yahoo.com. It's FELIXANDREONI@yahoo.com. Thank you again.
C'è la luna insieme